Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hey guys, happy high holidays. Yeah, that's right. It's 420 all day long, not just twice once in the morning and once at night, which is also very nice, but now you could do it all day long. What am I talking about? Happy high holiday what? Well, it's too soon for Easter because that's tomorrow. It's a month after spring equinox, and it is 2 days early for Earth Day. If you're from California, you know what I'm talking about. Ooh, ooh, ooh. 420 people. That's right. That means today is the day. It's a marijuana smoker's holiday. Everybody in the States knows it's 420, and if you are in California, am I right? Like, it is a constant running gag, like every frickin' day. Even it's 420 somewhere in the world. That's right, people. I grew up knowing about 420 for the most part. As an adult, I knew about 420. It's when people look at you and they go, hey, it's 420. So, oh yeah. And then everyone goes in the back alley and smokes weed. Well, this story originated with a group of high school kids in San Rafael, California. You would think it'd be called San Rafael, but no. If you live there, it's San Rafael. So these high school kids called themselves the Waldos, and maybe that's where they get, where's Waldo? Well, I don't know. He's out smoking weed by the statue of Louis Pasteur. 420 used to be called 420 Louis, 420 Louis, because high school got out, all the teachers had gone home, and now it's time to gather by the statue on the school grounds, smoking your funny grass. That's where 420 comes from. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about how this thing got started, and none of them are true except this one. So, basically, in 1971 in San Rafael, California, the Waldos used to get together and smoke weed at 420, and that was like their code word. So the teachers and the parents would know, you can't have your rents know what you're doing. So that's where it came from. Now, it turns out that one of the Waldos had an older brother who was friends with Phil Lesh, who is the Grateful Dead's bassist. And so they eventually started getting high with the Grateful Dead at the rehearsal studios in San Rafael. So that became a big thing. It was every day at 420 in the afternoon. That was the time. Well, then it became a thing that every time anyone sees 420, it's like, look, it's 420. Well, now it's just a national holy high holiday, okay? This gives a holy meaning to the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension, right? I'm probably going to channel the spirit of cannabis if I could get her to agree, because maybe I'll have to pick a certain strain or something, but it is a very spiritual plant, so that is why I'm mentioning it. Also, because I'm just a pothead. Not as much as I'd like to be, but used to be a little bit more. My husband told me a story that when he was, my ex-husband, who's passed, he deceased in 2010. Well, he told me a story that in the 70s in Santa Clarita, California, every single day at noon, these guys, these random men, would show up in the park across the street from Santa Clarita High School, and they would have these like huge huge grocery store bags. Now we're talking before the days of, do you want paper or plastic? Okay. No plastic bags existed yet for this purpose. It was these huge paper bags. I mean, the big ones. Sometimes you could find them. I think Trader Joe's has smaller versions, okay? And they didn't have the fancy little handles on them. They weren't stamped with the words Trader Joe's, all natural spirits, blah, blah, blah. There was like nothing on the bags, just brown paper bags. They were like kind of flimsy, recycled paper. And every stinking day, these guys would show up randomly. And now he like when he told me a few years back, he said, you know, now looking back, I kind of feel it's possible. It's quite possible that they might have been with like a cartel or like the mafia. Maybe it was the mafia in the 70s that ran the drugs. He's like, I think possibly maybe it was the bikers, but I'm not really sure yet. Probably wasn't the bikers quite yet. I mean, like he was like trying to figure it out, because what's hilarious about this is that his whole life a stoner. And then as an adult he went into the military and had a couple careers, and then he became a cop and he was a prison guard. And the whole time for 7 years, he was stone cold sober, except for alcohol, you know, no weed. And then when he retired and fell in love with me, we moved into our first apartment together. He like disappeared for an hour. I'm like, where the hell did he go? He came back with a frickin' bong and a bunch of weed. He's all, I'm retired now, baby. And then the second thing he said to me is, it's 420 somewhere. Oh my God, I about died. I'm like, how is my life going to change when I came from a life of smoking weed every day, getting drunk almost every day, or at least having wine, and then, you know, kind of having a chillax sort of attitude towards life, and then I'm going to move in with a cop? How the hell is that going to happen? I really honestly felt my life is over. My partying days are done. And when we first moved in and he lit that bong, I was all, damn, man, let it rip. I could not believe it. So 13 years we were together, probably because of the weed. I mean, it just relaxes the hell out of you. We always got good sleep. Life was great. But he told me every single day, these guys would show up with 2 to 3 bags. I mean, huge garbage bags. And these are like 2.5 feet tall, right? And like 1.5 feet across, and width-wise, probably a foot at least, filled with frickin' buds. Primo frickin' buds. Not trim, not frickin' stems. And I think it was Scentsy, but I don't know, might have had the seeds in it back in the 70s. They didn't really make a difference. It wasn't, you know, but it was like natural weed. It wasn't like the super strains of today where people are now getting THC sensitivity and psychotic breaks and freaking out. I mean, like life was way different in the 70s, and I was too young to even know anything about it until I was a teenager in Minnesota. But from what I understand, every single day at noon, they would take these bags and they'd go to this picnic table. They would turn the bags upside down and shake them. And all the kids would gather around in a circle, clamor for the weed, and then take off to smoke in the park. And every single day at noon, all the kids in Santa Clarita High got high. It literally was Santa Clarita High School. And then they don't really remember what happened in the afternoons. I mean, I don't know. If his mother, who's still alive, hears this episode, she's going to know now why he failed, you know, like math, or practically failed all his afternoon classes. That's why. He told me there was one day that he smoked so much that he sat there and he kept like swatting at his mouth, like swatting. And And this guy's like, what the F is wrong with you, dude? Come on, calm the hell down. And he's like, dude. And his friend's like, what? Like, shut up. The teacher almost heard him. They were like scared and paranoid. And he's like, dude, are there bees? He's like, what? He's like, are there bees in my mouth? Man, my teeth are buzzing. I got the bees. And he like literally had like the hallucination that there were bees flying out of his mouth. And he was like so freaked out. He told me another story that his uncle had bought a trailer. His uncle had bought a trailer from the guy who played, hold on, I'm going to look it up. Okay, the man who played Jonas Grumby. Now, I know you don't know that name because you know what? I watched this show every freaking day of my childhood, and I never knew that was the name of the skipper. Yeah. Who knew that? The skipper on Gilligan's Island, his real name, well, the skipper's real name was Jonas Grumby, played by the man Alan Hale Jr. Well, my ex-husband's father and his uncle worked on Gilligan's Island. That's what their job was. They worked the electricity, they ran the lines for the electric and for the lighting. My father-in-law did the lighting. Well, they were all very good friends with the cast, of course, and especially Alan Hale Jr., he'd come over on weekends and party with my husband's uncle. Well, the uncle eventually bought this trailer to go camping and kept it in their backyard. Well, that was just, for the summer, but the rest of the time on Saturdays when my husband, when he was a kid, like a teenager, and he'd go over to his cousin's house and they would go hide in that trailer and frickin' hot box the hell out of it. They would like shove, like they said, like aluminum foil, paper towels, whatever the hell they could find, and they'd seal it tight. And then they would hotbox the trailer, and then they would wear freaking gas masks, and they made gas mask bongs. And then they would smoke through that, and they would get so high that they would like pass out and sleep for hours and wake up at supper time. And they'd hear like their aunt, his aunt would be like screaming for them, like, where the hell are you boys, And then they'd have to like sneak back in the house and use their Visine. And I'm sure that in the 70s when weed became really popular, probably Visine sales went up. I'm just saying. Hashtag just saying. Anyway, there's some super fun getting high stories for you from the 1970s for our high holidays. So shout out to Snoop. You can't say high holidays without a shout out to Snoop Dogg, and also a shout out to Willie Nelson. Oh, and also Lily Tomlin. And to my deceased husband, God rest his soul. Oh, gosh. Well, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of news, and then we'll get into a few more things. I know, I think news and then the Schumann resonance, and possibly then I'm going to read you some Rumi poetry and have a little discussion about Rumi and tell you all about him. So you might want to toke up and sit back and enjoy the poetry and everything else. I'll read you the news, and then I'll be right back after this message. But I gotta read you guys a Schumann resonance first. All right, we are at 93% as far as ascension symptoms are concerned. And you're not going to believe. So I go to disclosurenews.it to check out the Schumann resonance to read the news to you today. Ho, 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 Mother Earth. What a joker. What a card. Yeah, Gaia she's hysterical. Literally, there's one word for today that describes the Schumann resonance. Calm. The word is calm. Tranquila. It is so. It's tranquila, like we drank a bunch of tranquila. Oh, I can't even say that right. It's tranquila, like we drank our tequila early today. All right. Calm. That's the only word. These scientists have been writing freaking books for weeks. Every single day. It's like 2-3 times a day they're checking in, man, and they're telling us all this stuff. And then, boom, calm. Oh, man, that is hilarious. Well, by the way, I'm also going to shout out to one Mr. Cheech and one Mr. Chong. That's right, Tommy Chong, Cheech Marin. Oh my God. Yeah, these guys, they actually, they made me want to smoke weed more than anyone on the planet when I was a kid. I never missed a Cheech and Chong movie in the theater. I mean, I went with my parents. I went with my cousin. She snuck us in. I mean, she had to sneak me in. I was 12. I was a little kid, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, what? And she didn't even smoke. But she was just like, they are so freaking funny. And I'm like, well, what are they doing? She's like, I don't know, just some kind of drugs or something. She didn't even know, really, and then obviously I found out from the movies. But I mean, oh my God. And then later when I was older, when I was in my teenage years, every time a Cheech and Chong movie came out in the summer, I mean, I would hit that plane. I would fly to California, and my mom and my stepdad would take me to a Cheech and Chong movie. And then when I was 17, I used to get high with my mom, and she was so cool. Like sometimes we'd go down or up to Santa Barbara to the nude beach and just lay out to get that all over tan. Then we'd come home sunburned as fuck. And then, oh my God, my mom she taught me how to roll a joint like you would not believe. I couldn't believe how fast she was. I was like, damn, Mom. Yeah, like, man, slow down with that. Oh, crazy stuff. I could not believe it. I was like 17, about to be 18, and my mom's all, hey, check this out. And God rest her soul, man, she was a good mom. And then when I was in my 30s and I met my real mom, you know what my real mom used to do? Oh my God, this is so freaking classic. Okay, a year after I was born, Summer of Love, baby, 1969. My mom lived on the corner of Haight and Ashbury in Berkeley, California. And you know what my mom did? She had a flop house. She called it a flop house, which means when you're a hippie in the 60s and you're smoking weed and you're on acid and you're tripping and you don't know where the hell you live or what your frickin' name is, to go to Susie Q's place. You go to Sue's house, and that was my mama, and she rolled joints for a living, $1 for one joint. That's what she charged. You had to bring your weed, you got to bring your papers. My mom would do it for you when you're fumble fingers and you're high and you can't do it yourself. That's what my mom did. Yeah, the same mom that dated Mickey Dolenz. Yeah, lead singer of the Monkees. That's true. I swear to God, this is a fun story. It's a true story. It's a high story. And she had a flop house. Now, what a flop house was in the hippie times was... you couldn't remember your own freaking name. You just fell asleep wherever you were, man. It's a summer of love. We all love each other. We might get down, which means sex. randomly with strangers. Oh my God, pre-AIDS. How crazy was that? The only difference, it was just innocent. Everyone loved everyone. We're all, about touchy-feely, loving on each other. We're spiritual. We're hip with Jesus. He was a hippie. He turned water into wine. He would have turned it into weed if he knew about weed then. He probably did. But, that was like the thing, man. Everyone, that song, Spirit in the Sky, that's where I'm gonna go when I die. It was all about that. It was like spirituality mixed with psychedelic drugs and the best frickin' music on the planet. That's where my mom was. That's where she was. She gives me up for adoption, and a year later, and she didn't even make it to Woodstock. She said she was so frickin' drunk and so frickin' high. She kind of got to, she thinks it was Wyoming or Montana, or she didn't frickin' remember where. She was in a hippie caravan on her way to Woodstock and got so frickin' high that she missed it. My mama missed Woodstock. Yeah. That's another fun story for you. Anyway, I just thought I'd share. I thought you guys would get a kick out of these high stories for the high holiday. So, yeah, that's... All right, after this message, I'm coming right back, babe. I'm coming back at you, and we're going to hit you up with some Rumi. That's it. We're going to talk about spiritual poetry that sounded kind of sexual, a little bit, kind of romantic, a lot bit. Pretty interesting stuff. So when we come back after this message, that's what we're going to get into. Hey you, have you ever thought about having your own podcast like me? Was it even a New Year's resolution? For me, it sure was. But as I've been looking into this for months, I was daunted. There's so many questions I had. When I was trying to get this off the ground, I was wondering, how do I record the episode? How do I get it across all the platforms? How do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts when I don't even have an iPhone? How do I get it onto Spotify and all the other places? How do I get people to listen? And how do I make money from my podcast? How do I edit it? Oh my God, I had all these questions, and I was so confused until I discovered the simple answer is Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free, and it is ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. All you need to do is record it. You don't have to go out and look for people to advertise on your show. They help you. So basically what I like about podcasting is I don't have to have a video of myself. You don't know if my hair is dirty or if I'm still in my pajamas or even if I'm wearing makeup. Haha. And it's so easy. I could do this from the comfort of my own home in my living room using this amazing app right from my cell phone. So easy, right? So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money, by the way, doing it, please go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast, and I can't wait to favorite you. Woohoo! Let's be broadcast podcast buddies. I'll see you there. In the 70s, they used to say, "Hey, baby, what's your sign?" Ha 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 ha. Cheesiest pickup line ever. We tell people you're spiritual, or at least pseudo-spiritual, I guess. And also that you have an interest in somebody, and that would kind of lend way to discussion on personality and what that truly means. Well, since it's the high holiday and we've been kind of talking about the 70s, I wanted to let you guys know that Rumi was born on September 30th in the year 1207. He was born in basically present-day Afghanistan, but he did speak. It was Afghanistan, and then now it's kind of Tajikistan, and I can't even pronounce the name of the empire. Anyway, he died at the age of 66 in Turkey, in Konya. That's what it used to be called before it was Turkey. Why would they turn it into like a lunch meat? I don't know. That's just a whole nother crazy. Someday maybe I'll learn that. Did they not know? They probably didn't know. He died on December 17th in 1273, and he was 66 years old. So his final resting place is in Turkey. He was a Muslim, so his religion was Islamic. His ethnicity was Persian, and he was alive during the time of the Islamic Golden Age. And his poetry it's considered to be Sufi poetry. So like we have the Christian mystics and we've got the Jewish mystics. Well, we also have the Islamic scholars that were mystics, the Muslim mystics as well. So his most popular name is Rumi. Everybody calls him Rumi in English, but his full name is Jalal al-Din Muhammad Balkhi. So there's like 4 or 5 other names ascribed to him, but for the most part, we'll just go with that. So Rumi mostly wrote in Persian, but once in a great while, he also wrote in Turkish. He also wrote in Greek and in Arabic. And he was considered to be one of the greatest poets of the Persian language, period. Let alone one of the greatest poets in the whole wide world. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more. I'm looking this up as I go along. Some of the stuff I can't totally remember. It's a lot. It's pretty extensive. There's so much written about him, but his poetry is so beautiful. So I'm not going to tell you too much more about the man as much as I'm going to share more like his poetry. So he was born in a village on the Vaksh River in present-day Tajikistan, which used to be Afghanistan. My God, the maps change. So, like, in this modern-day world, being a map maker, my God, it seems like you would make money. What year were you born? Let's make a map for the year you were born. Oh, what was your brother? Oh, sorry, that's a whole nother map. Your brother's going to need a new map. But his parents also spoke Persian. And when he was growing up, he really loved, excuse me. Ooh, I'm still a little sick, guys, by the way. Oh man, I'm getting better though. I just sound rough, but I'm a lot better. Thank you, God. But so he grew up speaking Persian, and his favorite Persian poets were Attar and Sanai. And besides them, the most important influence in his life was his father. And so he mentioned these quite a bit in his poetry. And he became real popular while he was alive, and obviously much more so since his death, because we're still talking about him today. My God, it's been 700 plus years, you know. So He was laid to rest beside his father, sorry. Obviously his father has passed away since the 1200s as well. Thank God. I mean, vampires. Okay, never mind. Just a little high right now. Hopefully we'll get through this just fine. So anyway, over his remains, after he was buried, they erected a shrine in his honor, and a lot of people just come to visit him. Now, when he died, his followers and his son, Sultan Walad, founded the Mevlevi order, which you've heard as the Order of the Whirling Dervishes. Yeah, those guys that spin around like super freaking fast. How do they not get dizzy? I don't know. But you know what? Let me give you a weird little thing. I'm going to go over the Himalayan yogi rites someday, but when you spin in a clockwise circle, if you do that at least 5 times, if not 21 times per day, well, start with 5, start with 3, because you're probably going to be dizzy AF. But you spin around as fast as you could stand it, go slow at first. That will be one way to keep all your chakras spinning at exactly the same rhythm, which will make you young. You will look like you're in your mid to late 20s forever. Now, if you look like you're in your 60s or 70s and you do the Himalayan 5 rites, which I will do another show on it, we're not going to talk about today. Just look it up. Look it up on YouTube. You do those 5 exercises, including the spinning like the whirling dervishes do, you will like reverse all of your aging until you get to be about 29 again. And I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I'm still rereading the book about it, and when I get there, I'm gonna do a book review. You're not gonna want to miss that one. It's gonna be frickin' like amazing. All right, so back to Rumi though. We're gonna get back to Rumi. So his father was a jurist, which I think means a judge maybe in the legal profession. His father's also a theologian and a mystic. So Rumi's family was in the profession for several generations of Islamic preachers of the very liberal Hanafi rite. And then he continued this tradition himself. His mother's name was Mumina Khatun, and she was just only ever referred to as just a simple woman who lived to the 1200s, like, hello, his whole family. So, I don't know, they just didn't really mention the women a lot, but I know in Persian, well, I can't say specifically in Persian culture, but I know in Muslim culture, no matter what country you're from, if you're Muslim, you're kind of taught to protect the women. You don't talk about them very much. You don't want anything bad to befall them. So you bless them, you love them, and you protect them like so much. So because you love them, it stems from a form of love. So it sounds twisted by today's standards to some people, but it's literally just from love. And once you understand that, then it's like, oh, okay, well, all right, love is love, right? It's just, but in Islamic culture and faith also, women are very much, usually, not in the extreme cases, obviously, but usually very much encouraged by the Quran specifically to pursue higher education. Oh my God, did you guys hear that? Ugh, scared the crap out of me. Whew, I thought that was a gun. No, it's not. It's Cuenca. It was fireworks. Tomorrow's Easter, I forgot. Every holiday we've got our fireworks. In fact, I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's pretty awesome. I may go to my friend's Cafe Montecielo tomorrow, which is a cafe, mountain sky cafe. It's literally the top highest peak in the whole city, overlooking the whole city. And I did this for 4th of July. I mean, not for 4th of July. I'm so sorry. My first episode ever, I talked about this. First and second episode, I think I talked about the fireworks up there. Such a beautiful place. So if you live in Cuenca and you're hearing this, please go to Cafe Montecielo. Check them out on Facebook because they're the sweetest people, best view of the city. The food is pretty good. It's it's varied every week, but they did make pumpkin pie a few weeks back, so I got to talk to my best friend Jordan over there and get him to do it again. When I'm coming, Jordan. Make me some pumpkin pie. I miss pumpkin pie. All right. See, high. I'm a little bit high, not much, but here. Okay. So Rumi did inherit the position as an Islamic Molvi. I don't know this word, M-O-L-V-I, Molvi, but that's really strange, a Molvi, I don't know. But he basically was the head of a madrasa, a religious school. So he taught Islam to children. He got married and he had 2 sons. Then that wife died. He remarried and had a son and a daughter. And at some point in his life, he spent 4 years in Damascus. I think you've heard that word before. That city name. Brother Yeshua, he also traveled through Damascus quite a bit. So it's pretty cool. But he was inspired by the world around him, by his religion, his deep love and devotion to his father, his family, and other poets and poetry. And he was just very mystical. So he went beyond and above the typical religion thing, where most people, no matter what their religion, will go to their house of worship and do their thing for an hour or up to 12 hours. I don't know. Every religion is different. And then that was it. They kind of forget it the rest of the week, or they do their nightly prayers or their morning prayers, and that was it. But for him, it was like eat, breathe, and sleep in the mystical way, in the spiritual way. And he was beyond the religion. He was spiritual and mystical. And I believe that he probably had some deep spiritual and profound experiences. So I'm going to now read to you some of his poems and see if you get that deep feeling. No matter what your religious belief growing up, no matter your religion or your spiritual bent, whether you're an atheist or a Wiccan, you might still find something in this poetry that you can relate to. and to that end, this is a perfect poem for this, me having just said that. Alas, don't tell me the Christians are lost. Don't tell me that the Jews are lost. Don't tell me that the infidels are lost. Alas, my brother, you are lost. That is why everyone else seems lost. It's true, right? I mean, when you start going around pointing your finger and accusing anybody of anything or judging anything in another person, I mean, there's 3 fingers pointing right back at you when you're pointing a finger, right? So basically, you have to look inside yourself maybe 3 times before you judge anybody else and call them lost. So it's a good point, right? Okay, let me read you another. The morning wind spreads its fresh smell, We must get up and take that in, that wind that lets us live. Breathe before it's gone. That was a good one for an asthmatic to read. While I'm having lung issues, I don't know, but I like that one. It's just true though, right? I mean, if you could just appreciate the teeniest, tiniest moments in life that God creates for you. I mean, He is closer than your jugular vein. He is living behind your heart, not just in your heart. He is in the wind. She is in the wind. You know, whatever version of God you wish to accept. So here's another one. There is a candle in your heart, ready to be kindled. There is a void in your soul, ready to be filled. You feel it, don't you? You feel the separation from the beloved. Invite Him to fill you up. Embrace the fire. Remind those who tell you otherwise that love comes to you of its own accord, and the yearning for it cannot be learned in any school. So you could see where that would maybe take a little bit of a possible romantic ideology, right? You could kind of go, well, maybe he's talking about love, you know, that fire and passion. But, I mean, honestly, he's talking about God. But it's just like every good love song out there that has ever been written. You just don't truly know. In every love song about love, I mean, you might hear a song when you're in your 20s and think, oh, excuse me. You might think, my God, I feel that way about my sweetheart. Oh, this person really gets love. And you're going to grow up and you have a baby and you hear that song again and you go, oh, that's funny. I thought that was about love, romantic love, but now I see that that song was written for the love a parent has for a child. Wow, that song has layers to it, doesn't it? And then you might get involved in spirituality 10 years later and go, wow, now I really hear it. Now I understand that song. It's not about romantic love. It's not about parental love. That's about your love that you have for God. And then after a few years into your spirituality, you hear the same song and you can go, oh, it's God's love for us. That's what a really truly great love song will do for you. There are a lot of songs out there. A lot of songs written under the influence of getting high. Seriously, there's a lot of love songs. I want you guys, that's your assignment for the week. Go out and listen to just the radio. You know, just pay attention to the lyrics and see how many different kinds of love you can apply to that song. How many different ways you can look at it. You know, it's like when you have a magic 8-ball in your hand and you shake it up and every second there's a different reply. There's a different answer. You could do that. You just take those love songs, just shake them up in your hand, and there's going to be a different answer as to what is the significance behind it. What did the artist truly mean when he or she wrote that, right? All right, here's another one by Rumi called Light Up the Fire. I gaze into the heart, lowly it may be, thought the words be higher still, for the heart is all the substance, the speech an accident. How many phrases will you speak? Too many for me. How much burning will you feel? Be friendly with the fire. Enough for me. Light up the fire of love inside and blaze the thoughts away. Now you could look at that as if that's a love poem, right? And it is. It's a love poem for God, but you could apply it to other forms of love, could you not? And I did pick I picked one that said blaze. Okay, sorry. Another high 420. But why would you want to blaze your thoughts away? I mean, he doesn't really mean smoking weed, does he? I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he does. I don't know. But if you go back to last night's episode, I did talk about meditation and how you want your thoughts to be away and you want to commune with the divine in your purest form as spirit, beyond the space of words, beyond time, right? So he's talking about meditation. Be friendly with the fire. Now for me, I don't want my kundalini to burn out. I don't want to burn my nervous system. I am sitting here meditating for you. Just be friendly with it. Like basically, God, don't allow me to burn up before I know you, you know? That's at least what I take from it. Maybe you have something else in your mind when you hear that. All right, this one is called Behind the Scenes. Is it your face that adorns the garden? Is it your fragrance that intoxicates this garden? Is it your spirit that has made this brook a river of wine? Hundreds have looked for you and died searching in this garden where you hide behind the scenes. But this pain is not for those who come as lovers. You are easy to find here. You are in the breeze and in this river of wine. See that the wine, the wine of the mystics. It is intoxicating when you meditate so deep. When you first get the first wave, you might feel is sweetness, maybe joy, a little bit of grace, and you start to feel love. And then one day you hit peace and you just feel like, finally. After you hit that peace, you start into a whole nother level. It's like, when you're undoing the parts of your personality you don't like, or unraveling the junk, the dross of your life. And then you get to the sweet inner spiritual part of yourself. It's still like another onion. And as you meditate, you go deeper and deeper and deeper in the heart. You get to the heart of it. It becomes intoxicating like wine. I mean, to the point of you literally will feel drunk on the Spirit of God within you. You get to a point where you're so happy. You'll be a happy drunk. You're a happy drunk. You get really happy, just so blissed out. And you get to the point where nothing on earth will ever affect you anymore. People's opinions about you will never matter again. Someone will go, ooh, I really like you. And you go, oh, that's nice. Someone will go, oh, I don't like you today. You go, all right, well, that's nice too. It doesn't matter. When you see the illusion behind it, when you see behind the scenes, So I'm going to give you some more Rumi. Get you guys really interested in reading. There's so many books, boy. You could go and you could download it as an ebook. You could go to the store and buy these books in every language on earth. Okay. Here's another one. Now try not to cough during it. The lover's food is the love of the bread. No bread need be at hand. No one who is sincere in his love is a slave to existence. Lovers have nothing to do with existence. Lovers have the interest without the capital. Without wings, they fly around the world. Without hands, they carry the polo ball off the field. That dervish who caught the scent of reality used to weave basket even though his hand had been cut off. Lovers have pitched their tents in non-existence. They are of one quality and one essence as non-existence is. So that was really deep, yeah? All right. I'm trying to read, there's this other poem, I'm looking at it, and it's like fancy, someone made it into art. You know, you could go to Google and find a lot of the poems I'm reading and download them as art for your computer background. If you wanted to be reminded of this week, you could go find your favorite one and possibly actually just, have it as something that would be, inspirational for the week. Just consider it as one more thing in our road to enlightenment that we journey together. This is a lovely one. I choose to love you in silence, for in silence I find no rejection. I choose to love you in loneliness, for in loneliness no one owns you but me. I choose to adore you from a distance, for distance will shield me from the pain. I choose to kiss you in the wind, for the wind is gentler than my lips. I choose to hold you in my dreams, for in my dreams you have no end. Whew. Woo, that's deep, right? I mean, that's really deep. And you could apply that so easily to romantic love, right? You could say that would be a poem like for an empath who's extremely introverted. I mean, I relate to this on every possible level. I mean, that's like pretty crazy, yeah? Whew. But you apply it to God, it's like so deep. It makes you understand a little bit like why people would choose to be a renunciant of this world and run off to a cave and sit in silence and not want anything else. I mean, at least for me, I understand it that way. Here's another one. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and attend them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. Oh God, that one got me. I got a tear all up in here, man. That was just too great. Like, wow, that was so deep. Could you imagine your body as a guest house and all your emotions are just, whether they're invited or uninvited, it's almost like your body's a hostel and you never know who's going to show up. Who's going to be happy? Who's going to be hostile at the hostel? You don't know. But just honor each one of them. That's like deep, man. That's like so deep. This is why this guy was so popular. He's still so popular. Oh my God. I used to have the most beautiful book of Rumi. Oh, it was incredible. It was really an incredible book. It was like the artwork was so intense that I could not read more than 1 or 2 pages a day. I mean, I would break down and just like sometimes weep. I weep like a baby who hasn't had a bottle in 2 hours and needs a nap. I mean, it just made me so like emotional. And my oldest kid, Alice, Liam, he would call out to me from across the room, Mom, you got the book, and he'd run and come on, and want to sit in my, when she was when she was a little girl, she would sit in my lap and we'd read the Rumi together, and she would cry too. She would get little tears. I know she, inside my oldest kid is literally the heart of a saint or a spiritual master for sure. I had a really good day with my oldest kid today. He called me on a video chat and said, Mom, I'm in Berkeley, but I'm going to get on the BART and you're going to ride the BART with me and you're going to go to San Francisco with me. And I'm going to take you up and down the piers and I'm going to show you some stuff that you have not seen yet. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So from my living room here in Cuenca, Ecuador, I went to San Francisco with my oldest kid. Oh, the miracle of technology is wonderful, isn't it? And he showed me art that was put there in 2016. I haven't been to California, guys, since 2013. Oh, I could not believe it. There's this statue of a buckyball made by Buckminster Fuller. This shape is like a sacred geometry to the frickin' 1000th power. It's so incredible. It's one of the strongest things on earth, and he discovered it. And I couldn't believe this artwork is just, it's crazy and incredible. And I just enjoyed the hell out of it, seeing the Pacific Ocean from San Francisco. I got married in that ocean to Liam's father. So, I mean, I was just really blown away by it today. Today was a good day. It was 420 all day long, and today was a good day. Just, I gotta say, it was good. Anyway, back to Rumi. Here is it. Bitter your acts, bitter am I. Kindness your deeds, kindness am I. Pleasant and gentle, so you are. Fine honey lips and sweet talker. You are prime matter. Who am I? You look the looking glass in your fingers. I become all that you display, the mirror to prove you exist. So, who's talking here? I mean, who's talking here? Is he talking to his twin flame? Perhaps. Twin flames are mirrors to each other. We prove each other exists, don't we? Whether our twin flames are incarnate or not. We're also a reflection of the divine, are we not? And in turn, through our experience that we experience, we give greater knowledge to God. So we're a reflection of the divine, and the divine becomes then a reflection of our experience and therefore of us. So that's a pretty deep one. You might want to rewind it and listen to it again. All right. Let me see if I could find another good one. Here it is. I'm actually not crying right now. You might think I am, but I'm just like, oh, my sinuses. Bismillah. Pointing to my chest. I'm hitting my chest. Bismillah. Doing the Wall Street chant mixed with the poem, mixed with the prayer. It's gotta work. All right. Knock that illness out of me with joy. Here it is. Hold to the reins of love and don't be afraid. Hold to the real behind the false and don't be afraid. You must know that the beloved you seek is none other than you. Hold to this truth and don't be afraid. All right, here's another one. Oh, actually, that's funny. That wasn't even by Rumi. Oh God, it was like the prettiest picture of a swan and everything. Okay, just because there's a picture of a swan doesn't mean it's a Rumi poem, okay? When I first heard about Rumi, it was the same day that I heard about Omar Khayyam. He's also a mystic poet. And God has been bringing me to this mystical Islamic path, which is really crazy. Right? I've been spiritual my whole life. But God brought me Islamic, mystical, Sufi poetry when I was 12 years old. Might have been 11, right about to turn 12. And what is so weird about this is my dad and my stepmom and my baby brother and I had been living in an apartment, a really crappy apartment, just like we were on the 3rd floor, and sometimes the elevator worked and sometimes it didn't. There were cockroaches everywhere. I mean, it wasn't like a slumlord situation, but it was like LA in the 70s and it was freaking hot. I mean, you stand too long in one place, your shoes are going to melt to the ground hot. Mostly because you're wearing wallabies, and I don't know what it's like, did they make the bottom of our shoes out of gum? Because, I mean, my shoes melted I remember it was so hot. I don't know why, but when you're walking on certain like pavement or blacktop, especially blacktop, made from petroleum, because that's safe for kids. Yay! Nobody knew anything then. No one knew anything about safety. But that was when we were having smog alerts all the time. There's a lot of stuff wrong with LA at that time. A lot of great stuff, though. My God, I'm so nostalgic for the 70s. But my dad, thank you, God, he was a good provider. He was a good man, good provider for his family, So my stepmom was his third wife, and my brother was my dad's second child. I was adopted, so my brother was my father's only genetic biological kid, which made my little brother very special. And I love him dearly. He's very special to me. He was my little brother in a past life, too. We were Lakota Sioux in that life. But anyway, my dad wanted to provide for us, and he bought a house. He bought a house in Arleta. There's a new show called On My Block on Netflix, if you want to know what Arleta's like. You hear a gunshot and you go, oh, that was a 22. You hear another gunshot, oh, that was a 45. No, it was a 38. It was closer. No, it was 45, farther away. These are the kind of arguments that go on in Arleta right now. But back in the day, Arleta was all right. It was all right, we had some gangsters in the neighborhood, but they were my friends. They were normal. For the most part, good guys, Spent most of their hours in the front yard learning how to work nunchucks, trying to be cool. Getting their tattoos, coming home looking all swagger, and getting their asses beat by their mamas. Because everyone in Catholic Church is going to be angry because their kids got a tattoo, That was my hood. That was where I grew up a little bit of time. But it wasn't all that bad. It was actually pretty good. Now it's bad. Now it's bad. Now it's dangerous in the day bad. But when I was a kid, it was just exciting. I mean, God, on my block alone, we had people from all over the world. Every house, it was like the United Nations on my street. Like in my cul-de-sac alone, we had people from Iran, India, Korea, England, Mexico, and oh gosh, they weren't from Guatemala. Where were they from? They had a little girl named Isabel, and she was the most beautiful little baby I've ever seen in my life. Her long eyelashes were just gorgeous. Oh God, I think they were from Honduras. So, but I mean, on my block alone. Oh, and a family from Texas, because that's like a whole nother country. Sorry, I didn't mean to mess with Texas, but it's true. But anyway, when we moved into that house, there was a box that was left in the back of the truck by the people that had moved before us. And we had a moving company move us. And what happens when you have a moving company move you in the United States, if you're not from there or you've never, had a company do it for you, what they do usually is they have room on a big 22-foot truck for 3 separate loads. And in those separate loads, they put like a blanket between your stuff. And so, you load up the 3 houses and then you drop off the first house, the second house, the third house, or the third, you go backwards, like the third house, the second house, whatever. Well, we were the final house. We were the first house to get loaded in the morning, and then the last house get dropped off at night. Well, the family that had gotten dropped off before us, and we don't know who they were. My dad didn't drive the truck. It was a professional company. There was this box that said children's books. And my dad wasn't there when they unloaded the other people's stuff. And the other people said, yeah, that's fine. It's everything. And they just, all right, fine, whatever. Movers said they got everything. And I guess maybe they had parked on a hill and their box slid forward into our stuff and the truck looked empty. It's the only thing I can imagine now, looking back as an adult, understanding the situation, having gone through the moving process with professional movers once in my life. Mostly it was me in a frickin' U-Haul and frickin' 3 days by myself hauling boxes, hoping to God I don't break something. Yeah, anyway. So my dad says, oh, look, there's one more box that was left on the truck. This one's yours. This must be yours. I don't recognize the writing. Maybe it was Jan's. Yeah, my stepmom. Well, I don't know. Well, it says children's books, so hey, you got children's books. Well, oh, okay, cool. And he says, I don't know. Maybe it's my ex-wife's stuff, his second wife. And he's like, maybe it was hers. I don't know. I don't know where this came from. You know, because they're really professional movers are professionals usually. So we didn't know. It was like a mystery box. He's like, well, they're yours now. I don't care. I'm not going to call the company. Unless they call us looking for it, it's yours, kiddo. Have at it. He knew I was a nerd, man. He'd hand me books and I would go disappear in my room until I was finished reading the book. I'd come out unable to frickin' see, which is why most of my life I was nearsighted. And then I got laser surgery. Back in the game, nerd baby. So I opened the box, and in the box, we had leaves of grass, we had leaves of gold, we had, every American mystical poet. We had Rubia of the Rose. We had Wine of the Mystic. We had Rumi poems and Omar Khayyam poems. And 1001 Arabian Nights. And Alice in Wonderland. That box of books influenced my ass for the rest of my life. I've become a mystic. I am certainly quite mystical. I have become very interested in psychedelic drugs. And for a time, very interested in politics, which Alice in Wonderland is a commentary of how the Kingdom of England, the UK, was ruled in its day. Told from the lens of psychedelic drugs. But that box was like the most mystical, magical happening of my entire childhood. And it was also the first calling to Islam that God gave me gently, just a gentle nudge. Here's some poems you might enjoy. They're free. And they came from You're Never Gonna Know Where. Talk about mystical shit, right? That is cosmic AF. I'm going to read you another one. I am hopelessly in love with you. No point giving me advice. I have drunk love's poison. No point taking any remedy. They want to chain my feet. But what's the point when it's my heart that's gone mad? These poems, I would sit in my room and I read one after another, after another, after another, after another. And I would be crying crying. I mean, the tears would be flowing. I mean, it was just like incredible how deeply they touched me. I was only 12 years old. Sometimes I was scared that I was going to get in trouble, like I was doing something wrong, and I'd close my bedroom door, and sometimes I'd even go into my closet with a flashlight and weep openly, but behind the closet door. I mean, to be honest with you guys, this is the first time I'm coming out of my mystical closet to even tell you guys this. This is like one of my deepest, most hidden memories about myself when I was 12. There's something about the way that love is spoken of, and I knew he meant God when I was 12. I knew it. My soul knew it. Here's another one. The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. All right, here we go again. I'm going to cry at this one. Yeah, that's how I feel about my twin flame for sure. You're in each other all along. It's about romantic love, twin flame love. And also how much God loves you, how much you should love God. And if you don't, the blocks that are inside you are the erroneous and false notions you hold about yourself. All right, I only have a few more minutes here, folks. I'm going to try to read you some more. Here's a quick one. Open your hand if you want it to be held. I mean, it just seems so obvious, right? Almost sarcastic. Okay, here's one called There Was a Time. There was a time when my thought soared as a king, or a time when I mourned like a prisoner. Those days are gone, and I have promised not to take myself seriously again. Oh, talking about walking the middle path yesterday, right? That was very much about taking the middle path. Don't go off in any direction too far. Not to the right, not to the left. Just go in this dead center. And that's right. Go in the dead center of you. Withdraw all your energy and go into your spine. That's what I told you yesterday, right? All right. Let's see here. I'm looking for another one. So this next one I decided to read to myself first, see if I needed to cry it out, and then I could read it to you guys without getting all emotional. I'm just being like so genuine, like from day one with this podcast. I think I finally came to the point in which, I'm just being myself. And if you don't like my podcast, it's not for you. And if you love my podcast, hashtag Soul Tribe, hashtag Soul Family. I'm glad you found me. I'm glad I'm finding you. So, okay. This is a good one. I've been looking for a long time for this thing called love. I've ridden comets across the sky. I've looked below and above. Then one day I looked inside myself, and this is what I found. A golden sun residing there, beaming forth God's light and sound. That's called the music of the spheres. When you can hear, I haven't been able to hear the chakras. You got to go deep, deep, deep. You go deep enough, you're going to hear the sound each individual chakra makes. Or you have to have dog hearing. I don't know. Maybe that. I don't know. Anyway, one more quick quote. These pains you feel are messengers. Listen to them. Okay, 3 more. 3 quotes. You have to keep breaking your heart until it opens. What's meant to be will always find its way. Always. The wound is the place where the light enters you. And when you do things from your soul, you feel a river of joy within you. And that's it, baby. That's all she wrote. I'm signing off now with peace and love and joy and the high vibes of the holy 5th dimension. Until next time, guys, I love you all. Happy high holidays. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.